Erica, and you guys might recognize me from my YouTube channel where I do a lot of fashion and beauty posts. And today I wanted to come on the Outsiders channel and talk about my story and just my whole process with dealing with sexual assault and how it's affected my life. Some of you guys that are familiar with my channel know that I was sexually assaulted when I was at my second year at college. So I just wanted to come on here and talk to you guys about my experience with it and how it's affected me. So the Outsiders Movement channel is basically a place where we can come together and submit our stories about sexual assault. Maybe you have personally been sexually assaulted or have dealt with interpersonal violence and you want to share your side of it, or if you've experienced it secondhand, maybe you're somebody that is friends with someone that has gone through something like this and you just want to put your story out there as well. You can just head over to the outsidersmovement.com and you can submit your video there and just become part of the movement together. So just to give you guys a little bit of background on my story, I was at my second year of college and I had just moved into a new apartment with my roommate, and it was a night out and everybody came back to our apartment. There are some people that I didn't know that came over as well, and that night I was sexually assaulted. Right after that, the biggest feeling that I felt was kind of confusion, and I also felt like it was my fault. I definitely felt like I had done something to provoke the situation, and I tried to like replay what happened and how I could have done something differently. I basically was taking on most of the blame, and I really didn't understand the situation fully until I told my roommates what happened. And it was later on the next day that I really understood the situation, and I knew that I didn't give consent for this, and it was something that I didn't want. So basically I got a better understanding of what happened, and I knew at that point that I had been raped. Moving forward from that point, I eventually did tell my parents, and that was probably the best move that I did, because sharing it with them, they fully understood like my situation, and they took steps to help me get out of that apartment, move back home. I transferred to a different school so that I was closer to my family, and it just gave me like a great support network. I also started seeing a therapist at that point as well, just to kind of address the psychological issues that come along with being sexually assaulted. When I was seeing the therapist, I was at like an extreme low. My grades were really falling. I just really didn't care about anything, to be totally honest. And I just felt like every day was a struggle for me. And when it came to school, I felt like I was always a pity case. And I felt like if I ever did slip in school, I felt like my excuse was, oh, I was sexually assaulted, and I hate having that kind of define me or define my academic performance. And I felt like at that point that's what it was doing, and I hated that, and it just made me really depressed, and it was really hard to pull myself out of that. And it wasn't until I realized that my grades had slipped so much that I wasn't going to be able to graduate, that's when I finally realized, okay, I don't have a choice. I need to like do better. And that's what kind of made me get over the situation to the point where I actually could perform better in school. Now, fast forwarding a little bit, I talked more about my depression in a video that's on my channel, and I'll leave a link here if you guys want to check out more about my story there. But to move forward a little bit, I started doing better in school. I got into the school that I really wanted to get into for my four-year university, and I started doing really well. And that's when I started dating again very seriously, and that's when I met my husband at the time. Well, he is my husband now, but then we were just dating. And that's when I realized that I had really, in that time where I was healing, I pushed down all those feelings about sexual assault that I had and my depression. I'd kind of like bottled it up and kind of just put it on the back shelf. I didn't really think about it very much. But once I started dating again, it kind of all came flooding out. It was very intense for both of us to kind of deal with all of my emotions at once, and I feel like it kind of came as a surprise to me because I thought I was completely over the situation. But once you start an intimate relationship with somebody, whether it's a friendship or a relationship, it just, for some reason, it brings it out of you, and you don't want to be vulnerable. And that's one of the biggest things I remember after I was sexually assaulted. I felt so vulnerable, and I felt not safe. And all of a sudden, when you're in a relationship, you have to be vulnerable and you have to open up to somebody else. And it kind of puts you in a weird space where you're like resisting that. And it can almost interfere to the point where you and that person can't create a connection because you're so worried about protecting yourself. So that was one of the hardest things that I had to pull myself out of. That was the most recent episode. So eventually I did tell Nate what had gone on, and I feel like he was very understanding about it. Not only understanding, he was extremely patient with me, and he never wanted to put me in a situation where I felt uncomfortable or I felt pressured in any way. And I feel like when you're at that point, you definitely need somebody that's going to be patient with your healing process. And at that point, I really was healing from the situation. It was the first time I had seriously addressed it, especially with somebody else by my side. It was a different experience healing while I was in a relationship versus healing by myself. So he was extremely patient with me, and that support helped me open up to him more about the situation, and it just kind of gave me closure with it. And then in terms of, you know, sharing my story with other people, I definitely feel like it's something that empowers me now to talk about it, because I don't have this silence that I have to put on myself about the situation. I can tell people and I don't feel vulnerable or unsafe. I feel like it gives me the power back in the situation, and it gives me a voice to say that, yes, this happened to me, but no, it doesn't make me who I am. And I moved on from it. It's something that has shaped me, but it doesn't make me who I am. Because it gives me so much, I guess because I feel so empowered talking about it, I feel like I'm extremely passionate now about raising my voice and sharing my story with other people and letting other people know that they're not alone in this situation. And I feel like my YouTube channel is a perfect place where I can do that. And I was actually contacted by Brandon, and he's starting this whole Outsiders movement, and he shared his vision on what he wanted this to be, where it could be a place where people could share their story and we could all be in this experience together. And I was so excited when he reached out to me, because I'm extremely passionate about this, because I've personally gone through it, and I feel like I can reach back and I can make a difference in somebody's life just by sharing my story and letting other people know that they're not alone, whether or not you've actually been in a sexual assault situation, or it could be domestic violence, anything. I feel like all of these emotions are very similar, and starting that conversation just breaks that silence, and it allows people to create a network and a family where we can all heal together and all be, you know, fight this together, basically. YouTube is a unique place where I personally have a relationship with you guys, and we're constantly going back and forth and talking about things, and I feel like this is such an important conversation to have, and we have already this great relationship, and I care a lot about you guys. So I don't want you guys to ever feel like you're alone in a situation. If you've gone through something like this, maybe my video can help you guys feel like you're not so alone, and if you share your story, you can help others feel like they're not alone in the situation, and they're not you know, they don't have anybody to talk to about this. So you guys can head over to the Outsiders channel and you guys can submit your own story there. I hope my story gave you guys some sort of empowerment to kind of be a part of the conversation and share how you guys have experienced this in your own way, whether or not you've been affected by this directly, or if it's through a friend or a relationship that you've been in, then you should definitely submit your story and share your experience. So this is my character, and it just represents how I'm just a regular person that's gone through this, and it humanizes me and takes that glamorized Hollywood, you know, ad type of thing where people are in movies and this happens. This is not, you know, how it really is in real life. And the character just signifies how it happens to real people every day. So if you want, you guys can go over to the Outsiders movement and you can make your own character, and you can use already the like pre-selected things, or you can be creative and make your own character. Just make sure that you hashtag the Outsiders movement if you post it on social media. Just make sure you tag it back to us. You can also share this video with your favorite celebrities. If you go over to the website, you can tweet them and let them know that this is happening. So hopefully we can help start the conversation with other celebrities.